Hi, my name is Flask, and I'm a volunteer with the Girl Scouts of the Green and White Mountains, serving Girl Scouts in Vermont and New Hampshire. So usually I talk to you from outside somewhere or even at my work table downstairs, but I'm at my desk right now because today, while I was up at the Preston Pond Conservation Area, I picked up a sample of pond water. And I'm gonna prepare a slide and look at that under my microscope. And I don't have really fancy equipment. I have a Carson pocket microscope. I'm not affiliated with Carson, but I have a couple of their little tiny pocket microscopes, and I like them quite well. They're not super expensive, and they come with a light on them so you can look at what you're examining. And this model, I don't know, I think I maybe paid $20 for it, so it's a pretty good deal. It's got a plastic body, but it has pretty good optics, and it's got a little platform where you can put a slide, and it too lights up, and it has a position that lights when you're using without the slide, and it also has a position that lights up the slide platform. I'm going to prepare a slide. I have two kinds of slides. I have one that has a well, which is a little depression in it that'll hold a little bit of water, and I have a regular flat slide. And I'm gonna stir up my pond water because some of the stuff I want to look at may be on the bottom, and I'm just going to tilt the bottle and take a drop with a dropper. I'm going to put a little bit in the well. Couple of drops, not too much. So I have just a couple drops on that slide, and I'm going to pick up a cover slip and carefully put it on that and let that spread out, let the surface tension take it. And you put it on an angle first so that the air bubbles don't get in. And then I'm just going to slide it in here under my microscope, and I'm going to look at it. But the first thing I'm going to do before I do that, before I really look at it, is I'm going to attach this clip to it. And this is kind of great. This clip comes with this microscope. I bought this just on a lark last year to see if it was going to be any good. But it comes with this clip that lets me look into the microscope with my phone. And that's like all kind of fantastic. I cut an empty drink bottle to just make as a platform to lay that on top of it. So now I can just turn on the light in my microscope. And if I position the clip right, I can look right down into the microscope using my phone and see what's in that sample. So let's look at that. When you start looking at a sample of pond water, you're going to see a lot of dirt and a lot of plant matter. And plant matter, for the most part, doesn't move, but sometimes the current in the water moves it around a little bit, because even in water as small as what's under a microscope slide, there's a little bit of a wave. So if you're looking for animals, you're looking for something that moves under its own power. And right there, you have something moving on its own. So when you're looking at an animal, even if you don't know anything about the animal, you can always ask yourself questions like, what are its body parts and what is it doing? And if you look carefully at this animal, you can see that it's eating. This is an oligochaete worm, and it has fine bristles that help it crawl. These guys are nematodes. A nematode is a roundworm, and there are so many different species of nematodes that We don't even know how many there are. We do know that they exist in some form in every environment that we've discovered on the planet. So there are a lot of them, and they're freaky looking. I don't even know what this thing is. I think it's probably an insect larva. It may be a caddisfly larva because of the way it lives in that tube, but I haven't been able to identify it, and I don't feel bad about that because there's an awful lot of weird stuff out in nature, and you can't identify everything. You just can't. It's still awesome, though. So while we're in the neighborhood, let's look at this round thing. This is a heliozoan, which is a word that describes these tiny little spherical animals that have all these spines on them, like they're sun-shaped. And those spines, which are called exopodia, are not really good at helping the animal swim, so it mostly just drifts around. But what these spines do is they're like pointy, and when things get trapped on the spikes, the heliozoan will kind of glom around it and just absorb the other animals. So what you're seeing here is this heliozoan eating another smaller animal because that's how they do. All right, so this nightmare looking thing is an insect larva. You know how butterflies and moths have caterpillars? Well, midges and other flies often have larvae that live in the water. And this one you can see right there coming into the frame. Those are its analcedae, which is official science language. That means it's butt bristles. But this one is a non-biting midge, which is, those are those little flies that hang out in the summer in the gigantic clouds and they get in your eyes and your ears, but they don't bite. This is what it looks like in its larval form. Those cheerleader pom-pom looking things are its anterior parapodia, science language for its front things that are like feet but aren't actually feet. You can tell this critter belongs to the subfamily Tanapodinae because its antennae retract. And this little guy, look, he's grabbed right onto it, the parapodia. And you're not sure if he's going to eat it or not. There he goes. Let's go, little guy, because apparently he's not delicious. But man, I love this thing so much, and it's so freaky looking. This awesome animal is just creeping around looking for a place to attach its foot so it can set up business and feed. Now it's going to pop out these two towers, 1, 2, and you can see if you look closely, it's got lots and lots of spinning hairs, which are called cilia. And the place on its head where it has those two towers, almost like ears, is called a corona, which means crown. And it uses those cilia to spin really, really fast, and it creates a whirlpool that sucks food particles down toward its mouth. And then you can see a thing that looks like a beating heart, but it has no heart. What you're looking at is an organ called a mastax, which is what it uses to chew its food. So this animal is called a rotifer, and it's an extremely common animal on this planet, and the only reason you don't see them every day is because they're so tiny. Here's another rotifer. It's kind of jammed up in the corner. You can see its cilia whirring, but it's kind of shy. It's not sure it likes what's going on. And he's gonna poke his little cilia out again. But it keeps playing peekaboo. That little dude just cracks me right up. This is the first time I've ever seen these guys. So what you're looking at here is, these are another kind of rotifer. This is a family of rotifers that live in a colony. So what they're doing is they're all holding on to each other by their feet. And you remember they each have one foot. So they hang on by their feet. And then when they rotate their cilia, the whole wheel turns around. And I think that is just amazing. Nature sure is freaky. So that's it for me today. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've seen some amazing things in my sample of pond water. And I hope you get a chance to go out and look and see some of the weird things that live near you. I'll talk to you later.